Well, railway train, motor car, or pedal bike? Could we, I wonder, be moving into the age of the bicycle? The question is prompted by this here, the Cycle Tracks Bill, which could reach its destination as a piece of law by Easter. It'll enable councils to extend rights of way for cyclists in city streets, and it's going through Parliament at the same time as the GLC complete plans to spend more than £1 million a year to make life easier for London's 250,000 cyclists. Nicholas Freeman, all that sounds rather like a good idea. Why do you object to it?
Well, Mr. Barratt, it sounds a good idea, but it really isn't a very good idea at all. Indeed, it's quite impracticable, so far as central London is concerned. If there are to be reservations for cyclists in central London, then it means that the available road space, which is already at a premium, is going to be even more considerably reduced. I think it really is out of the question in central London.
Well, what are you going to do about all the cyclists in London? I mean, cycling's been growing in London. The traffic is slowed down, but not at all by cyclists. Cyclists don't hold up traffic. It's traffic that's holding traffic up, and cyclists aren't taking any road space.
I am perfectly prepared for cyclists to continue to cycle in London. My objection to the present proposals is that cyclists should be given and have reserved for them a certain part of the road space. If that happens, as we've seen with bus lanes, the result of that is going to be even worse traffic congestion than presently exists.
Well, I don't think a cycle lane actually would hold traffic up at all. I mean, it's just basically giving part of the road space that cyclists are using at the moment, which is the 1 metre gutter that you cycle up past the stationary jams that are there in the morning. So I quite honestly do not agree with Mr. Freeman on this point whatsoever.
Would it not actually be better, Nicholas Freeman, if we had more bicycles and fewer cars, if perhaps all of us left our cars on the outskirts and cycled to work?
Well, quite obviously, if there were less cars in London, that would obviously be better. And I would be only too pleased if those who lived outside London did indeed keep their cars at home and came up to London either by cycle or by private car. But so far as my borough is concerned, Kensington and Chelsea, we have a very, very large residential population. Those people need to keep their cars near to their homes. If their residence parking bays are going to be threatened, which they are, by cycle lanes, then their position is going to be made very much more difficult. That is what I am particularly concerned about.
But a lot of your residents in Kensington and Chelsea ride cycles. Your council actually has a policy to investigate cycle routes and provide other facilities for cyclists. And your town planning committee is actually supposed to be pursuing this. And it seems to us that your very, if I may call it, prejudiced view might be influencing these councillors to reject schemes which aren't really costing much, are going to benefit your residents, your voters, Kensington Chelsea cyclists. And they must be wondering what on earth is going on at Kensington Chelsea. The council leader here is coming out in the Observer on this programme saying cyclists are not providing anything, yet there is a policy which you can go and see at the council, see in the library, which says we are going to do it. So Mr. Freeman, what's going on?
Yes, well, you're perfectly right to say that in the district plan at Chapter 10 there is a reference to our investigating the possibility of providing cycle facilities. We will investigate everything in Kensington Chelsea, as you would expect. We have investigated it, and it is quite clear that it is impracticable to have
practical in Kensington Chelsea, but practical in Westminster. The Ambassador route has been put in, funded by the government, which also has a government policy. Mrs. Chalker was only on a bicycle last Wednesday, and Camden is providing cycle routes. So how come? And Hammersmith is providing cycle routes, Southwark is providing cycle routes. A lot of inner city boroughs can do it. Why can't Kensington and Chelsea?
The Ambassador route that you mentioned is a very, very limited one indeed, and I should be very surprised to see if Westminster can extend that significantly. The further you get out of London, out of central London, when you get to Hammersmith and Fulham, when you get further west
there's lots
or
of
further
cyclists
east,
there.
of course it's much easier to provide cycle routes. What I say is that in a highly congested borough like Kensington Chelsea, which is a residential borough as well, it simply isn't possible to do so significantly.
If they were provided, let me put this question to you, would you be prepared on behalf of cyclists to pay for this special route? After all, ratepayers pay for bus lanes in the sense of paying for the bus transport system. Motorcar drivers pay for the road itself. Should you contribute to this sort of help?
Well, that's like asking a smoker or a pub, somebody who drinks beer, would they prefer the tax they pay to be paid on more pubs? I'm sure they'd say yes, but I think we must get away from the idea that tax is spent on the things it's raised for. Tax is just raised to get money for the government, and they will then redistribute it as they feel fit.
Well, so far as cyclists at the moment are concerned, if there is to be no significant increase in the reservations for cyclists, I would say no, they shouldn't be taxed. But if there is to be a significant increase, and that will involve a lot of money, then most certainly they should make a contribution to the cost.
Well,
of
I
it.
disagree with you on the money side. I mean, it's in percentage terms, it's a small, minuscule part of a cycling budget.
Well, let us move on then to another area which is perhaps a little more emotive. The word menace has been used, I think, by you, Nicholas Freeman. Do you really find them a menace? Do you think they're dangerous on our roads?
I think they can be dangerous, yes, certainly. I think they can be dangerous, and I think they can very often be a danger to themselves. One of the problems about cyclists is that people can take to their bicycles without any test of proficiency at all at pretty well any age. And I do think that they can be a danger to themselves, and they can, in certain circumstances, be the danger to other people. But having said that, I would say, well, most cyclists are adults, and if they want to take the risk of cycling in central London, that's their business. But it doesn't follow from that they're entitled to expect to have special reservations and special provision made for them.
A last word.
Well, I'm rather surprised to hear that you say that we're a menace. I can't see how cyclists could be a menace to London. I think we're doing Londoners a lot of good.
He did mean to themselves. I mean, if a bad car driver knocks into a cyclist, it's the cyclist who's dead.
Yes, but that's the trouble. There's a lot of bad car drivers about who are knocking cyclists over.
Gentlemen, both of you, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Steve. Thank you.